Are you having a hard time? You're getting frustrated? It's not as enjoyable as you thought it would be, or is it some kind of different experience to what you expected? Then just sit down, stay a while, and listen to what I have to say. Welcome to Boonatix, the community for SimRacing beginners and enthusiasts alike. If you haven't done so far, I would really appreciate you subscribing to the channel to not miss out any of the upcoming video projects and live streams that I'm going to do. So I hope you have a few minutes time to listen to me rambling on about this topic, but actually this is like I think the third or fourth variation of this video because I'm trying to cut it down, but yeah. I just, due to personal experience, want to talk about this huge topic that is sim racing can be frustrating, and I've come to terms that in the past couple of weeks and months the amount of how much I enjoy it and what I do and yeah, it just in general it's just not where I want it to be, and I think at least my impression is that there are a lot of people out there like me. And the reason is that sim racing is rising in popularity. It's skyrocketing since the start of the global pandemic last year, and that's an amazing thing. That's what actually got me into sim racing, and this year has been awesome with the collaboration and partnerships between Fanatec, the GT World Challenge, what SRO is doing, and getting like other communities and providers like, for example, SimGrid and GridFinder, Race Department, SimRacing GP, and enabling all these communities and new companies and drivers and players to enjoy this hobby together. It's just brilliant. It's amazing, which is also one of the reasons why I want to do this video, because yeah, as I said, sim racing is a huge special topic, and it can be very frustrating, and I want to narrow it down to a few chapters, and I would really encourage you to take part in the discussion. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, but please just, you know, keep it civilized and respectful. Share your opinions, share your feedback. If you are completely disagreeing with me, please just let me know, and if you have more tips and insights, just be sure to share them with me and the community. So let's just get into the first chapter. And the first chapter is actually the learning curve. Sim racing is just not like any other game where you just install it, jump in, shoot a bunch of guys, do some missions and quests, and get your gold, and that's it. Sim racing has a huge learning curve, and on the one hand it's a good thing, on the other hand it can be really scary, because if you approach sim racing like any other racing game, you will get frustrated because it's totally different. Sim racing games like, for example, ACC or iRacing or Racedrome are based on real race cars, real telemetry, and you know, the goal is to make it as realistic as possible. And games like, for example, ACC from Kuno Simulazione are really succeeding with that, and that actually means that you need to kind of understand how a race car works, how you need to approach a certain racetrack, what's like the strategy for a race. And I vividly remember my first time sitting in, I think it was the Audi R8 at Nürburgring, doing my first few laps. I was just overwhelmed. The graphics were amazing in ACC. I loved it, and I was doing lap times of like 2:10, 2:05 at Nürburgring, and I was just enjoying it so much. And beware, that was just like before going online and doing public lobbies and racing. But as soon as you kind of start researching more about this topic and how to improve like your performance and your lap times, you will see that there's so much more you have to learn, and the learning curve in sim racing is ongoing. It never ends. There's so much that you need to know and can know about, like tire performance, tire physics, car performance, aero balance, how the car behaves over the course of a race, and so much more. But the positive aspect there is actually that I think what makes sim racing so great is that it actually teaches you for life. which doesn't mean that you take your car on the road and race like a moron. But what I noticed for myself is that like actually I approach turns differently. I look at the road ahead of me differently. I'm more conscious what's going on around me, and SimRacing really helped focus me a bit better on like everything, and find focus and yeah, get a feeling and understanding of what the car is doing and what's going on. And I know you might be thinking, well, this video is titled SimRacing is frustrating, and how can that be, and why are we talking now about learning curves? And that's just basically the first chapter that I wanted to say, that like, yes, there's so much to learn, and that can be frustrating, and you need to find your way through that to enjoy sim racing. And that's why I split up the video to more chapters. And the next chapter is a bit controversial, because as I said, I called sim racing a game. Why? How can he say that? That's impossible. Sim racing is not just a game. I think I just humbly disagreed with like many hardcore sim racers out there. And the thing is, why I'm saying this is this can also be a part of a frustration to you. Sim racing games are basically just computer games, and I know it can hurt to say that, but let me just explain why I say that. I come from a background like games like World of Warcraft, Diablo, Path of Exile, Counter-Strike, Overwatch, whatever, and every game, every computer game has underlying mechanics that you can push to its limits. And I don't want to say exploit, because it's a pretty harsh word, but within the boundaries of the game, you can push the mechanics, and there are people out there who can really do that, who have a talent to kind of recognize how the game mechanics work. And with sim racing, of course, it's based on real physics, but nevertheless, it means they can only make it work so close. It still is a computer game. It's a program that has certain parameters, certain, processes running in the background. And we see that in sim racing, that usually a player who has been sim racing for like 10-15 years, who is investing a lot of time, but also investing a lot of time in understanding how the physics in the game work, because they can only make it so much close. There are still certain limitations in terms of like hardware, software, programs, whatever, but you can notice that if you, like, for example, keep watching what's going on right now with the British GT esports event with SRO, like at Monza, the GT World Challenge. When you have real race drivers who are driving GT3 cars or GT4 cars or whatever cars for a living, and you set them into the sim rig, usually most of the time they are slower than esport sim racers and gamers who have just been doing that for thousands or let's 10,000s of hours, and have been doing that for a very long time, because their understanding comes from a different way. And an interesting aspect is that usually when you sit a sim racer in a car, he has an easier time understanding what's going on. And we see that, for example, with some drivers, like the fastest gamer, James, who is doing a terrific job. But if you do it the other way around, you take like an experienced pro race driver and sit him in a sim rig, he will have a bit of a challenge, because he lacks so many different physical inputs. And the reason why I say this, that it can be frustrating to you, is that when you look at YouTube and other streamers and what the guys are doing, the lap times they're setting, and they make it just look so easy, but that's just because they have been doing it for hundreds and thousands and 10,000s of hours, and they understand better what's going on. So if you just got into sim racing, it's okay to not reach these kind of levels, because you just there's no chance for you to catch up on the amount of time they have spent. Aliens. Just aliens did it. It's all their fault. Yeah, so as we talked about like sim racing just being a game, we discover a lot of so-called aliens. So what are aliens? If you just got into sim racing, you might be new to the expression. It's like, it's people who are really fast. and make it look like it's the easiest thing to do, but it's not. So what I've come to grips is it's frustrating. You watch someone who is constantly 4, 5, 6 seconds faster than you on a racetrack, and you're trying to comprehend. You're just trying to understand what the hell is going on. How can he brake that late? Why is he able to rotate the car so much better? Why, it's this, I'm driving the same car. Why is it not working? And it's really hard, because I know sim racing is like you want to be faster. You want to constantly improve. You want to be as competitive as possible. But if you just keep pushing yourself all the time to be like an alien, you will just fail. You will just get frustrated, and in the worst case quit sim racing, which would be a shame. And the way I would suggest you to do is just take a step back and distance yourself. I'm not saying to never look at aliens and alien lap times and what they're doing. There's actually a lot to learn, but you need to do it in a conscious way and take a bit of a distance and like try to understand what they're doing, look at the race line and just try it for yourself, but never push yourself so hard to reach certain lap times. Because why? These guys have been maybe doing that, as I said, thousands of hours, and have a different and always a better understanding of what's going on in this sim racing game. Always consciously be aware of that you are not on this level, and it takes a huge amount of time and dedication to be on this level. And probably most of us are no esport guys, so we don't get paid. So yeah, part of the frustration is that you need to find a way to enjoy sim racing on your own terms. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be ultra competitive, ultra fast, do the perfect lap times, buy setups or whatever. So this is actually bringing me to my next step, is you need to find out which sim racer you are to enjoy sim racing and not get frustrated. So I know that various YouTubers already talked about this topic, and I'm just trying to like narrow it down to like what I think are the different types of sim racers. And I think it's important, because if you're like at a point where not enjoying sim racing, where you're getting frustrated and where you just think is like, what? It's totally different from what I expected, is like, think about which type you are. And to me there are like 3 types of sim racers. The first one is like the immersive one. You invest in expensive gear, you are rebuilding a cockpit, triple screens, you make it as realistic an experience as possible. And that's pretty cool. And what I'm saying now is actually that it doesn't necessarily mean that you're just one type of sim racers. There can be correlations between each other, but not every type works together. But so the first one is like the immersive one. And I think that that's really cool. That's actually one of my goals, but yeah, it takes a huge amount of time, dedication, and of course money. So the second type is the more casual sim racer. And I'm saying this like you're a dad with kids at home, you're a mom with kids at home, or you have a really serious job, you just have time to spend like 2-3 hours per week, or like, you know, just casually per month. And with sim racing, I mean like, you know, playing a Formula 1 game, a GT racing game, or iRacing, or maybe even a rally game. So you probably just are more on the casual side. You just want to have fun, you know, enjoy the experience with a car you probably will never be able to drive in the real world, but you can enjoy in a simulation game. So that's the second type. And the third type is like the alien, the esports guy, the very competitive professional sim racer. You want to be on top, you want to be number one, you want to always be the fastest guy. And there is no compromise. You do everything you can, you invest in coaching, you practice every day, you invest countless of hours. So to me, these are like the 3 sim racers. And of course you can combine it. You can say an immersive sim racer can also be a very competitive one. An immersive sim racer can also be a casual one. But what usually doesn't work is casual can never be competitive esports guy. So you have to decide for yourself, who are you? And I'm not saying that any type is better or worse than the other. It's just an important part of that when you are at that point where you don't know what else to do, when you get frustrated, is find out which type you are, and then never ever compare yourself to the other type. If you are like the casual immersive guy who loves the experience and have a good time on the racetrack, stop looking at the competitive esports guys in a way of comparing yourself. I'm not saying that you should ignore them, because I enjoy them as well. It's like cool to watch other esports guys drive, and it's really cool entertainment. But as I said in the previous chapter, do it with a bit of a conscious distance, that it's okay that if you will never reach that kind of level, because you're either not getting paid for it, or you don't have the time for it, or you're too old and have a family, so you're not a young guy anymore who can sit in the sim rig after school and spend countless of hours. So it's okay. It's okay to be the casual guy, and that's why it's so important that after you found out which type of sim racer you are, to find the perfect environment and community for sim racing, which brings me to the next chapter. Community. I think one of the most important aspects, not just only in sim racing, but for like every aspect of life. But since we're just talking about sim racing, since basically the push of sim racing and the huge amount of growth, which by the way still I'm just still trying to understand what's going on, it's amazing. So many different websites, communities, brands and companies have come to surface to like offer unique experiences, league races and activities. And so I just want to go over like a few and let you know where to look. But before that, it is important that you find a community that fits your aspirations, your type of sim racer that you are, and the way how you want to enjoy sim racing. As I said, sim racing is a competitive game because racing is competitive, but it can be or should be competitive on your own terms. And if that means that you are either very slow or a very safe or like a very immersive driver or whatever you are, it is important that you find a community that fits to you. It doesn't make any sense when you are in a very competitive community that is full of pro race drivers that just look at hot lap times and push and you're just losing distance and can't keep up. It just takes the fun out of it and might also be a reason why you get frustrated. So here are my top communities or websites that you should check out, of course. First on the list is one of my new partners, which is gridfinder.com, which is a compilation of all the sim racing games out there to find your place on the grid. You just go online, find the game, find your region, time and day, and you find nearly for every game a community and a league, which is really amazing. And they are now coming together with SimRacing GP, which is an awesome new platform where a bunch of communities are already on there, and you can sign up an account there, join a community, try it out, participate really easily in races. You just sign up, jump in when the server is online. So definitely also take a look at that. And Gridfinder and SimRacing GP are partnering up as like this huge conglomerate with racedepartment.com, and I'm pretty sure most of you already know the website, which is like the source for like sim racing, motorsports news and community, custom skins, downloads, lots of stuff. So these three pages and brands are like uniting for the complete sim racing package to like making it possible for you to find the community and the sim racing league and race events that fit your style, fit your aspirations. And if we just want to narrow it down to like communities I'm racing in, one of my longest partners is SRXP, that's short for SimRacing XP, which is an European league that actually started out as a German league. And they are doing a brilliant job offering a very, very safe and respectful environment for beginners, but also like more experienced and more competitive race drivers in 3 up to 4 splits right now. I've also been racing in ACC SS. They are also organizing a lot of events for AC, ACC, even thinking about, I think, other cars, games. And sorry if I didn't mention anyone else right now. I know that a very important part of the sim racing was also SimGrid, of course. Of course, you have to mention SimGrid with their daily races that they have been setting up that are most of the time full. So be sure to also check it out and like kind of find a split that suits your style. But anyway, the core aspect is that you find a community and a league that you feel comfortable in. So give a bunch of try, go out searching. I include all the links down below. And if you have a community that you think is really, really cool, feel free to post it in the comments and let everyone know to find new opportunities to have fun and exciting races. So I think one of the last points I want to talk about is it's important to take a step back, take some time off. The more time you spend racing, might it be countless hours every day, every week, it can get a bit overwhelming and too much. And I'm just talking about my own experiences with the live streams and the activities and everything. It's really good and important to just take some time off, get out of the rig if you're sitting too much in your rig, and play other games. Not necessarily always racing simulations, but like other fun games like Wreckfest, for example, or something completely different, or as soon as the weather gets better, just get out of, whatever. I don't have to give any like live spare time advices, but what I've seen from my own perspective is that if you just spend too much time with sim racing, it just can get to a point where it's just getting aggravating and feel like a job. So if that's the case and it just gets too much and feels frustrating to you, take a step back, spend a few days out of your rig and just do something else. And I think my last point is, talking again from my own experience, but reading what's going on in my Discord with many other people sharing their thoughts and opinions, is like, you're trying too hard. We went through Aliens, we went through the learning curve, what sim racing is about, it's a game, everything together is just, when you are trying way too hard, you're taking the fun out of it, you're getting frustrated because you can't achieve your goals. As I said, sim racing has a learning curve. It's in the beginning a steep learning curve, but it just keeps going. It might not be as steep the longer you do it, but the learning curve will be there until the end of your life. So every time you do something in sim racing, you go on a track, you participate in an event, you learn something. It never stops, which is one of the cool parts about this, but it also can be very frustrating if you're just trying too hard. And I want to get a bit in my own experiences and share what has been going on the past couple of weeks and months, which actually led to me doing this video and talking about it. Is I've participated in my fair share of various different community races and league races, and I always had like at the back of my mind, I need to win, I need to be top 3, I need to be faster, I need to beat the other competitors. And of course I understand if you out there are thinking like that, because the competitive aspect is just a part of sim racing. But as I said before, you need to find the competitive level that you feel comfortable in. It doesn't mean winning, it doesn't mean being the fastest. And my experiences in some of the leagues in the past couple of weeks were like getting to a point where, I was just frustrated because I couldn't keep up. People were doing coaching, people were getting faster and faster and taking it more and more and more serious, and I was like, I couldn't keep up. I was losing time. I was like in a race top 10, in the next race I was top 15, and in the next race I was at the back of the grid, and I spent the last couple of races usually at the back of the grid. And I would lie to you if I would say it wasn't really, it was nagging on me, and it was leading actually in the direction of this video. And I just came to a realization, is like, I'm driving in most of the time, trying to drive in the pro splits or in the faster splits, because I think as I'm doing this for a long time now, or like a bit more regularly and streaming it, I kind of set these expectations that I need to be quick, and I just actually came to the realization that I don't need to be. It's okay to drive in a slower split. There's no need to be in the top split. That's why splits or other communities and leagues are for, so that you can be competitive on your own level. And it's okay to not be in the top 3 and fighting for the win. It's cool to be in the mid pack and have some exciting battles. It's cool to be in the second half or at the end of the grid. And it all comes down to which type of sim racer you are and how you want to enjoy sim racing. And to me, sim racing is always just like having exciting battles on the track, trying to be competitive with someone else, have a good time, and like real fair and exciting battles. And it doesn't matter if it's in the pro split, in the second, third or fourth slowest split, if it's in the top of the field, in the middle of the field or at the end of the field. The most important thing is that you just don't try too hard and you find the competitive level that suits you and then enables you to enjoy sim racing on your own terms. Yeah, I think that's it for today, and I hope you found the video interesting. I hope that some of the ideas and frustrations and thoughts I shared with you were helpful to you. Please feel free to just give me your feedback in the comments. Let's just keep the discussion going, and if you haven't done so far, subscribe to the channel for more content like that and for my upcoming live streams. If you enjoyed the video, please, I would really appreciate you leaving a thumbs up. And yeah, I think there's nothing else to say before I lose my voice. It's just stay safe out there, take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon.